Hi, everybody. Let's talk about Pluto. Not only that, let's talk about Aquarius season, which is just around the corner. Next weekend, on the 20th and 21st, it's a big weekend. You may already be aware of this. Now, we have got the Sun moving into Aquarius, and we have got Pluto moving into Aquarius. So I'm going to pull up the charts shortly to show you the Pluto ingress into Aquarius. And that's either going to be happening on the 20th or the 21st of January, depending on where you are in the world. For those of us in the UK, it's happening on the 21st, early hours of the morning, 00:57 to be precise. So you might see lots of things out there about this Pluto ingress into Aquarius that has the date of the 20th on it. And that will be true for other parts of the world. Okay, so take that as it applies. But for us in the UK, those of us on GMT, it will be 00:57 AM on the 21st of January. What's very interesting is there is massive resurrection energy around this. And I've mentioned this for a time in terms of it being big change. This is about moving into not only an innovative period in terms of a zodiac season, but this is in terms of Pluto's next moment in Aquarius, which is going to last for a lot longer than just a zodiac season. So this is profound. This is about deep transformative energy and that resurrection energy of Pluto, that real scorpionic transformation into a sign that is all about innovation. It's also about connecting with others. So when we look at the collective and how we connect with other people, because of course Aquarius rules the 11th house, this is about innovative ways of how we're going to be connecting with others in the world. And of course, it all starts with us. So as we're transforming and evolving, and we are honoring more of our unique self, which is also an Aquarian trait, that's enabling us to connect with others, 11th house, in an innovative way to change the way things are going. Part of the new earth, okay? So it's massive. And we've been on our own journey of transformation, so we know how it feels for ourselves. This is a collective level, okay? Collective level transformation. So we've got Pluto ingressing into that sign of Aquarius, big deal. And it is a big deal. So this is about how we can really honor this resurrection type energy. And I'll come on to how the tarot links into this as well, because I was very much drawn to certain cards in the tarot that represent this energy. And, there may just be a message in there for you. However, this is a period of longevity for Pluto in this sign. So this is about changing things for not just a short term, but a fairly long term. This is about us moving forward in terms of how we are going to move forward in a new way, innovation, change, transformation. And Pluto is in a sign for 19-20 years. Okay, so later on this year, there will be a retrograde, and he will retrograde back into Capricorn for a little bit and then move forward again. So there is almost another window of opportunity where he's going to go back into Capricorn in that sort of final degree and trudge up anything else to do with structure, systems and rules that's not serving us, in order to then power forward again into that transformative energy. But in the here and now, with this coming up around the corner for us, this could be very much resonating with you or not resonating so much. If it's deeply resonating with you, you are going to know what this is all about. You are going to know what this innovative time is all about. Okay, but there could be that potential window of opportunity later on during that retrograde if it's not really hitting for you so much at this moment in time. Okay, if you're not feeling that. But many of us in the collective are feeling this. It's profound. Okay, let's rewind back. So Pluto will ingress into Aquarius, and at that point the Sun will already be there. But beforehand, they are going to be doing a merry dance with one another in the sign of Capricorn at the final degrees of Capricorn, 29. And they're going to be doing that for just under 24 hours. So that's almost a day of dancing in close proximity with one another. And it's not just any energy. This is the Sun, massive expansive force in the cosmos, and Pluto, this deep transformative energy. So they're going to be 29 degrees, okay, for that period of just less than 24 hours together. And then they're going to get closer, okay? So for 23 minutes of the period of time, they're going to be same degrees, same minutes, 29:59. That's right at the end. So they are going to be like that, and then they're going to be like that. 23 minutes. 2 and 3 is 5. Change. So they're going to be like that. And then the Sun will, of course, then move into Aquarius. There will be that period of separation, but only for about 10, 11 hours. It's just less than 11 hours. And then Pluto will ingress into Aquarius, and they'll both meet each other again at 0 degrees. Now, the Sun will already be 27 minutes of 0 degrees, but they will be there and they will dance together again at 0 degrees of Aquarius for a certain period of time. I think it's about 12 hours, 12 and a half hours, but I'll give you that detail in a minute. And then the Sun will go into 1 degree of Aquarius. That's still a conjunction, but I'm talking about the exact conjunction and the heightened energy that this is going to bring. So it's that dance, and I'm attributing it to a dance because it is that closeness that they are going to be, but then they're going to get even closer for a short period of time. Then they're going to break away and come back together. This is at the end of something and the beginning of something. With my new moon and Capricorn report that I did, I mentioned about supportive partnerships. So in a way, the Sun and Pluto here is a supportive partnership at this time because they are heightening the energy at the end of Capricorn, where we're needing to close things out to do with the transformation energy of Pluto, to really release any of those old systems, structures and rules that are not serving us, to move forward into that innovative energy. So the Sun is supporting Pluto and Pluto is supporting the Sun because that deep transformation is fueling the soul. It's a rebirth on the soul. And then they're starting off Aquarius together. The Sun will, of course, be slightly ahead. Okay, so that's the soul driving it forward. But they will come together again. So it's a supportive partnership at the end of a cycle and the beginning of a cycle. And that's important to mention because in our lives, there could very well be supportive partnerships coming into play to support one another through the end of a cycle, the closeout of something that's not serving us, and the beginning of a new cycle, that which is going to lead the way forward into this new innovative way of working for ourselves. Okay, so that's important to say also. I'll pull up the charts very shortly, but before I do that, I'm just going to show you some tarot cards. Okay. So this Aquarius energy, and certainly this energy of the Pluto ingress and this new start, the rebirth that comes from this. This card in the tarot is called the Star, and it's Aquarius energy. It represents rebirth and healing. So it's a new start. It's kind of like a midpoint new start, which is what this is. And there's great hope to this, and there's magic around this as well. It's very powerful energy, and it's like that resurrection energy, okay, in a positive way. It comes after the Tower, which is destruction, but it's destruction for the good, because it's destruction that needs to happen to rebuild the new. So that's why we get the rebirth after, because something has to end and close out in order for something to begin. It's depicted this way on this particular deck, Lightseer's Tarot, and on the Unfolding Path, it's depicted like this. So different decks, and as an intuitive reader as well, this is very much, you know, I'm guided to certain decks when I read for clients and when I do collective readings, because there's certain messages that come through. Both have the same meaning about something crumbling or falling that needs to in order to rebuild anew. This is allowing the Tower to fall in order to rebuild. So I was just saying about Pluto and the Sun, supportive partnership at the end of a cycle. and at the beginning of a new cycle. Okay, and the end of the cycle, if we look at what comes before this in tarot, it's this energy. This is about toxic cycles or unhealthy addictions to something that's not serving us, where we feel trapped, tethered, or bound. That's why the tower has to fall. Okay, rebirth happens. After that rebirth, we get the moon, really embracing that ethereal essence and getting in tune with our intuition, allowing things to come to the surface that need to be illuminated. And then we have the sun, that vibrant expression of true authentic self that can only come when you've gone through those periods of your life. The rebirth has happened, and there's the vibrancy. It's the happiest card in the deck. Okay, that's that full authentic expression of self at soul level. Okay, and also the moon and the sun going through the darker periods in order to get to the lighter period. So it is definitely about a restart. And just to show you as well, the scorpionic card, which is not only the tower, because that's also scorpionic energy, but we also have this death and rebirth. So this is what it's all about. It's about closing out an old cycle and starting a new cycle, and the supportive partnerships that are represented in this case by the Sun and Pluto working together, dancing together in harmony in order to support each other through the closeout of a cycle. This is Pluto supporting the Sun, the soul, and the Sun, the soul, supporting the deep transformation that's needed at both ends, at the closeout of a cycle and the beginning of a cycle. Okay, just wanted to say that first of all. Now let's jump into the chart. Okay, so I'm going to pull up the charts and let's have a look at the transits. Okay, so this is actually the moment when Pluto ingresses into Aquarius, and you'll see there the Sun at 0 degrees as well, but you'll see the 27 minutes, and that's what I mean. When they come back together again in Aquarius, the Sun is already 27 minutes ahead, but they are still at 0 degrees. They are still dancing with one another at this point. Okay, and just to mention that there is a trine, okay, that's going to the moon. And the moon will be in Gemini at this point. So that's quite a curious, open-minded, looking at both sides of things way to be when it comes to our emotions and feelings. So this is almost a curiosity about how this is going to unfold. It's honoring what the soul is saying in terms of wanting the transformation, but it's being curious enough in our emotions to maybe look at something from both sides and say, yeah, that could work for me. I maybe need to look into that a bit more, but that could work for me. And being inquisitive of the mind about it, allowing that to work with the soul energy of the transformation that's going on, because this is going to be a new way of being. It's a new cycle, okay? Brand new cycle. But there is a square that's going to Jupiter, okay, from the Sun and Pluto. So yes, okay, when it comes to that expansive energy, we may still feel it's a bit challenging because it's right at the start of that new season when it comes to Aquarius, but also when it comes to Pluto in Aquarius. And this is like, okay, this expansion is going to happen. Maybe I don't know how it's going to unfold. And that's why I am being inquisitive of the mind and curious of the mind. And it's just a bit challenging because I feel like this expansive energy is here, but I don't quite know how it's going to unfold yet. So surrender is obviously part of this. And this relates to worth and values. So we need to feel that we're worthy of this change as well, because if we don't, that might also be linking to the challenging feeling. But you'll see there's many green lines here. So there's many positive aspects to what's going on here because these are trines. And one of them is actually from Jupiter going to Mercury, and Mercury will be in Capricorn at this point because Mercury moves in to Capricorn tomorrow, the 14th of January. So that is, you know, communication and expression. But again, in Capricorn, it's real, it's realness. It can be quite blunt, it can be quite harsh, but it's speaking the truth. It's actually being very vocal about what it is you want to ground into your reality. Remember, we had that new moon in Capricorn, setting our own rules, setting our own boundaries, being quite focused and regimented in that way. And this is now our expression of that, and also how we are communicating with others and to ourselves about getting things done. So that energy is supporting the expansion, because we can then have confidence in how we are expressing ourselves in terms of the boundaries that we need to put in place because of this new way of being. And it's important that we honor that, we're real about that, and that can work in harmony with one another. There's also a trine from Uranus, and Uranus represents change as well. Uranus is still in retrograde until the 27th. So of course, by the end of the month, we would have had a full moon in Leo that takes place, and Uranus will come out of retrograde. So that's also massive energy going on around change and around authenticity, and also the heart chakra as well. Okay, I feel guided to mention that. But Uranus in trine here to Mars. So it's the masculine drive within us, because we've got masculine and feminine within us. That's the courage, that's taking the action, knowing what we want and going for it. That is what's going to facilitate the change. So we can be fueled by our expression and how we communicate, and allow that energy to work harmoniously with the masculine drive within of having the courage and the balls to go after what we want, and to say what we need to say to go after what we want and get what we want. Okay, when you look at the masculine energy with that, so that's facilitating the change. Brilliant. We feel we're worthy of it. We're going after what we want. The feminine energy, Venus, okay, so she's getting towards the final degrees of Sagittarius. It's still a quest for that Venus energy of where we're investing our resources, our time, energy, money, love, attention, etc. But there's a beautiful trine with Lilith, and Lilith is also in trine to the North Node in Chiron in Aries. So it's still this emphasis on the shadow work and how the feminine is rising up through the shadow work that's being done, which could relate to recognition, being seen for who we are. Okay, regardless of gender, this is about nurturing ourselves through by understanding where we're investing our time, energy, money, resources, what shadow aspects might have been coming up that we've needed to address, and how that's supporting our healing journey when it comes to our sovereignty. And not only that, our purpose forward with the North Node. So shadow work is also an emphasis with this as well, and to continue addressing anything that's coming up. I mentioned before, didn't I, about the moon then moving to the sun. So it's addressing those things that are kind of hidden deep within, any shadow aspects that need attention in order to then find that light of the soul and the true expression of the soul. So it's helping the healing journey in that respect. There's also a trine between Vesta and the South Node. So, okay, we've been dealing with karmic situations, past life karma that needs to be cleansed in this lifetime. We want to lay a fair foundation that's equal. South Node in Libra. And there is this trine with Vesta. So understanding our sacred flame. What is our sacred flame? What lights us up? What sparks that flame within? What do we want to create from? What inspires us to create? And that's helping us cleanse the karma, because when we know what it is that inspires us to create, we also know what doesn't inspire us to create and what might be holding us back. Then we need to look at the shadow aspects that Lilith might be showing us to understand, okay, this has been coming up for a while. It could be related to past life karma. I need to do this, this, and this to cleanse this out. Acceptance is part of this, of course, carrying the wisdom forward, but ultimately closing out the karma, cleansing the karma, and moving forward in the direction of the sacred flame, so that you can create from that place of sacred flame energy, which is also akin to Goddess Bridget. So this is about new starts. Okay, it is very creative, but it's also about new starts as well. Past Fortuna is also there. So it's a very fortuitous time for this to be happening. Okay. There is also a trine, because I mentioned about supportive partnerships, from Juno in Virgo to Uranus. So yes, there is still emphasis here on supportive partnerships and how they can also facilitate change. But there is a need to understand what you feel worthy of and what your values are. And if these supportive partnerships are in alignment with your values, perfect. That is a supportive partnership. If they're not, that could be where boundaries are needed. So again, this could be also facilitating change in a positive way, but by you needing to put boundaries up. Because remember, we've still got that opposition energy between Juno and Neptune. So Neptune is ethereal, magical, dreamy. So these supportive partnerships may feel very dreamy, but there's also a note of discernment, because we don't want to be entering into any deceptive partnerships. These need to be supportive partnerships, and that's where discernment comes in. So I feel that that message with that opposition is certainly around discernment, and it ties in with Uranus in Taurus, because it's about worth and values. So we need to understand that we attract what we feel, and of course, when we know our worth and we know this is what I'm standing for, these are my values, then those supportive partnerships coming in, just use that discernment to understand, yeah, they are on the same page as me. They are willing to support me and show up for me and to assist me, just like Pluto and the Sun are doing together, to close out a cycle that's needed in order to start a new cycle. And it doesn't necessarily have to be closing a cycle together or starting a cycle together in a partnership. It might do. But this is about coming together to support each other, closing out each other's cycles. Okay, so it's kindred spirit energy here, soul tribe energy, because you're both supporting each other to close out a cycle that you both need to, in order to support each other through into the new cycle that you both need to start. Okay, so hopefully that resonates how I'm saying it. But it's definitely, this is what I would say is a massive message, because of the fact that the Sun and Pluto are so close together. And it can be really harsh energy at the end of a cycle. If it's something that we've been attached to for so long, but it just needs to go because it's just not serving us anymore. It's not our true authentic self, you know, it's not aligning with that, it's not aligning with our values. And then there is somebody who is a supportive partnership to actually help support you through that closeout, to make sure that you get through it in the way that you need to get through it. Okay, and it could simply be a supportive partnership with your higher self or with the divine. We are the co-creators of our reality with the universe, after all. So understanding that there is that ethereal support there as well. But this does feel like it's quite 3D because of the Virgo energy, Juno in Virgo. So this is about our reality. So these are supportive partnerships in our reality that can enable us to bring our dreams, Neptune in Pisces, into reality, okay? To support us through that. Very important. Now, let's stop sharing that one, and I'm just going to show you very quickly for the UK, and I'm not going to go into detail on this one, but as before, I put the UK's natal chart wheel in the middle and Pluto ingressing into Aquarius in the outer wheel, just to show you where it's happening. So for the UK, it's happening in the 7th house of relationships with people, places, and things. So it doesn't have to be relationships with people. This is about our relationships and how they are transforming in a very profound way. And it could be a relationship with our thought patterns that's changing, because suddenly we've got the message that we've been too hard on ourselves, and now this is about moving forward. But it could be something really profound about letting go of relationships with people that don't serve us, and forming new partnerships and relationships with people. It could be about a place, okay, a relationship with a place that no longer serves you. Your energy needs to be elsewhere. Your soul feels like you need to be elsewhere, and saying goodbye to an area could be very emotional. But this is about change, and it's putting the change in motion. Okay, so it's whatever we would have a relationship with. But I will say there is emphasis on relationships with people because of the fact that it's Aquarian energy, and Aquarius rules the 11th house of connections with others. So there is going to be emphasis on that, okay, regardless of that. All right. So that's just to mention that. Saturn is still trying to empower us as well going forward. And remember, all of this that we're doing is also getting us in alignment with our spiritual truth. Saturn in Pisces, the house of the divine, the lessons that we've been learning in order to get to this point of transformation. What have we learned? What's not serving us? What is serving us? Where are we investing our time, energy, resources? And how do we need to move forward in that way? And allowing Pluto to support us on a soul level, but it's deep. It can be uncomfortable. Okay, it can feel uncomfortable. But the positive thing with the moon being in Gemini is that there is this desire to be curious enough to make the change for the better. Okay. And before I wrap up, I'm just going to show you a couple of charts just to show you when the dance begins. So this is actually the start of the 29-degree conjunction, because you'll see that's when the sun is there at 29 degrees of Capricorn, but 0 minutes. Okay, and Pluto is obviously there, has been there for a while at 29 degrees, but that's when their dance starts. Okay, and you'll notice that there is a square going to the south node. And I would say when I looked at this, to me, this was all about very karmically driven. It feels like it's very karmically driven because we're needing to close out cycles that are not serving us. And it's profound change. It's detachment from these things that could have karmic associations from past lives. So it's big stuff, okay? So this is the moment when the sun comes to support Pluto at that final degree, knowing that this is their dance at the final part of Capricorn together. You know, because obviously Pluto takes a long time to get round the zodiac. So by the time he's next in Capricorn, this is going to be a long time away. So, you know, not in any of our futures, because I said, didn't I, he's in a sign for 19, 20 years. So look at that around the whole zodiac. So this moment when the sun meets Pluto at this is pivotal. So it's very karmically tied here of what's going on. Okay, and this is happening for GMT, of course, on the 19th of January at 14:33. So this is GMT, apply your own time zones as appropriate. But this is the start of their dance. Okay, that's the start of their dance, very karmically charged. And also, this is when it gets intense for them. This is when the dance intensifies, because this is 29:59, right at the end, right at the end. Okay, so they do this for 23 minutes. And this happens at 13:44 on the 20th of January for us on GMT. Apply your own time zones as appropriate. So this is where it intensifies. So the square is still there. So it's still karmically tied, but now you'll notice the trine with the moon begins. Okay, and we saw that when Pluto moves into Aquarius, but the moon will be in Gemini at that point. Here, in this intense moment, the moon is in Taurus. And the moon in Taurus is all about knowing what you want, because you know your worth, okay? You don't want to accept anything less than that. So this is getting to that final point. And notice, folks, that the moon is also at 29 degrees. So this can feel harsh, and it makes me feel like saying this is getting to the end point of enough is enough here with this stuff that doesn't serve me, enough of it, okay? It's that acceptance of it because of knowing your worth. That's what it is all about, okay? So that trine is supporting our feelings about that, is supporting this transformation that is about to happen. Because not long after, so I think, so let me just check again, the sun moves into Aquarius at 14:08. So yeah, so it's about just less than 11 hours, okay? So they're going to be there at that point. Obviously the moon's going to move on, but this is the point here where they start their intense dance of 29:59, and that will carry on for 23 minutes, okay? Because then the sun will move into Aquarius. So they're still going to be close, but you see where I'm coming from here? This is the intense dance of 23 minutes. This is the start of that. So those 23 minutes are pivotal in terms of understanding, not doing this anymore. No, this is about newness. You can see my frankincense incense is coming over here as well to share that message. But it's, you know, it's a long period of time that they're dancing, but this is when it gets intense. It's the last 23 minutes of a 23-hour 26 dance. Okay, and then when the sun moves into Aquarius, they will then be reunited for a period of 12 hours 46 at 0 degrees. But the soul will be a bit ahead. The sun will be a bit ahead in terms of minutes. So that's about soul growth. It's soul growth that comes through all of this. And then Pluto is just there as that supportive partnership. I'm with you. So Pluto and the sun saying to each other, I'm with you. We've got this. This is profound transformation, Pluto, of the soul, the sun. Okay. So if you're interested in knowing more about how this might affect your chart, okay, I'm considering doing Pluto scopes similar to my moon scopes. So it's a personalized horoscope, but this will be for the Pluto ingress and to see how this transformation is going to play out for you. So I'm going to feel into that. And if it feels like it's something that's aligned, I will put a link in the description box. Okay. So that's that. Let's just get an additional message from the Universal Weight Deck. See if there's anything else we need to know. But this is profound transformation. This is resurrection of the soul, is what I would say. Resurrection of the soul. Okay. Pluto ingress. Oh, yeah, look at that. Ending something. Look at that. And it's also, that's being stabbed in the back to the point that you are just lying on the ground. Enough of this. That's that intense dance. That's that 29:59 moment. And the moon in Taurus saying, I am done with this. That is an ending. Okay, thank you, Spirit. What else do we have, please? What else do we have? Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Walking away from things that don't serve us, okay, that are not built on a strong foundation. Three of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. See if we've got anything else, please, for the collective. Yeah, okay, so this is about understanding what it is that you want, because the divine wants to hand this to you by way of this new cycle beginning. Okay, it's understanding that when it comes to emotional fulfillment. Okay, and also that it is a very karmically aligned time with the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, but we are in charge. It's important to know, with this being in reverse, we are in charge of our own destiny, and we can choose to turn the wheel forward as we're moving into that period of time of that soul resurrection energy. But that, as the starting card, is enough to say this is closing out a cycle that's been painful, stressful. Okay, let's see. Anything else, please? Final card. Yeah, comes from knowing our worth. We need to understand our worth. Okay, and hidden energy. Okay, this is about movement towards emotional fulfillment, but it's enabling that to happen by being open to it. So being open to the emotional fulfillment that we feel we deserve by understanding our worth and putting something to an end that needs to, a cycle closeout that needs to happen. Okay, that's very important. Okay. Moonology, because we've recently had that new moon, haven't we? And again, that was all about rules and structures and boundaries. Let's see what the Moonology deck has, please, for the Pluto ingress into Aquarius. Don't let pride get in your way. And that's very interesting that it says full moon in Leo. That's the next lunar event we've got coming up. So by the time of the full moon in Leo, okay, this ingress will have already happened. Look at that beautiful sunlight coming through the window now. And that is the sun energy of that card, which is Leo energy. That's Leo energy. Solar plexus, personal power, empowerment to express oneself in the way that we are truly, not standing for that anymore. Okay. wow, expect powerful change. You better believe it. You better believe it, because this is about allowing that to bring about that energy, which we saw at the beginning, but allowing the tower to fall. This is about allowing the tower to fall and almost getting up and dusting yourself off and going, let's go then, let's go. So this is about, yeah, we can't hold on to things that are not serving us anymore. Allow the tower to fall to allow the rebirth to come in. And there we have on the bottom, balance, spirituality and practicality. Okay, forming in Pisces. So that Piscean essence of trusting your intuition when it comes to this, okay? And the balancing spirituality and practicality, to me, says a lot about 3D and 5D. Okay, so we have this reality that we're living, but we also need to connect with the 5D via our intuition. And that's what's going to help guide us forward, okay, in all of this, in order to change our reality. And again, it goes back to what I said in the astrology about supportive partnerships, allowing our dreams, 5D ethereal, to then manifest into our reality, the 3D side, okay? So I'm sending you all the best. I may do a further tarot card reading specifically for the Pluto ingress nearer to the time, okay, because we know energy is fluid, okay? Free will is always at play in this reality, so it's never going to resonate for everybody. But the astrology, this is my interpretation, of course, of the astrological data. And to me, this is about a dance between the Sun and Pluto that gets intense for 23 minutes, building up to this massive change, this massive new transformative cycle that's then going to see them dance again together. So they are closing out a cycle together and they are beginning a cycle together by saying, I've got you, and the other one saying, I've got you too. So this is soul essence of the Sun being transformed, yeah. The soul essence of the Sun working together with the transformative energy of Pluto, okay, and vice versa. So the transformation fueling the soul, okay, because it's needed, allowing for that soul growth and the soul resurrection. So it's deep, it's profound, it's big, and it's going to allow for innovative ways of your life going forward, okay? So I'm sending you love and blessings until the next time. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.